Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you follow me on Lemon 8, you know that yesterday I posted about a granny square. Finally got home to give you guys the granny square tutorial video, so that's what we're going to do today. If you would like to see the granny rectangle pattern, leave a comment below and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the notification when I post it. Alright, what we need for a granny square. I am using a size G, which I believe is a 5mm. We are using this as our crochet hook and a number 4 worsted weight. I love this yarn. This is Candy Stick Stash, one of their Halloween colors. It indicates a 5mm, and I'm fairly certain that a G hook is a 5mm. My memory is not the best, so if I'm wrong, guys, I'm wrong. But I do know that this size works very well for this yarn. So this is what we're going with. You will need a pair of scissors and a sewing needle to weave in your ends with whatever project you choose to do. This is typically used to make square blankets, but you can make any number of things with this. So let's put our yarn on our hook, just like that. And if you need the tutorial for that, it is on my page under the How to Single Crochet video. We're going to chain 4, 3 and 4. Then we are going to create a slip stitch back into this first chain, creating a circle. Now go ahead and chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right, now we are going into the center of this circle. So I've been this is not the center where this little hole is, and I've got this one strand. That is actually not the center. I know it pulls out like that, but if you'll see, I can pull it tight. That's not our center. Our center is down here under 2 loops, not under the solo loop. Let's focus that. It's under 2 loops, not under the single thread. All right. So now we've got our chain up of 3. We're going to put 2 double crochets into the center of our ring. And if you want, and I like to do this, overlap over top of your end of yarn. So I'm going to wrap this around and pull it like this, and now that yarn is caught under that stitch, and I'm going to do that one more time. The entire time keeping my tail end. Thank you, my brain finally caught up. This is the tail end, guys, my goodness. Keeping the tail end underneath. Alright, now this chain up of 3 is going to count as your first double crochet for this section right here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 2. This is going to be our corner. And we're going to do 3 more double crochets over here. And remember, keep that tail end with you. Keep it behind, but with you. Two and 3. And you can use this to make all sorts of things. Washcloths, dishcloths, cardigans, when you learn how to sew them together. I'm going to do tutorials on that too, because those are so stinking cute. Alright, now we have one side, one corner, and a second side. So you're going to do this 2 more times. You're going to have another side here and another side here. Once you get to this last side and do that last double crochet, hold up just a minute and I'll meet you back. Alright guys, here we are back. This is what your work should currently look like. 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides. 1, 2, 3 corners. This last corner right here, here's what we're going to do. You're going to yarn over, and make a half double crochet into the third chain from this starting chain of 3. All right, so yarn over, insert your hook, pull a loop through, and then pull through all 3 loops. All right, now this gives us a little bit of space back here as well as space here. So we're going to do half of our next corner with a chain up of 3 and 2 more double crochets right into that corner. All right, now here is where your preference comes into play with the granny square. I personally do not chain 1 in between my squares, but I also like a very closed blanket. I like as few holes as possible, but if you're going for more of a textured look, I would do the chain 1 in between each of your clusters of 3 if you would like more of a spacious look, is what I like to call it. So since I'm not doing that, let's pull out a little more yarn. Since I'm not doing that, I am going to go from here directly over into this other corner. And what I'm going to do is one little cluster of our 3 double crochets. And again, we're in a corner right here, so we chain 2. And then right back into that same space right here, we're going to do another little cluster of 3 double crochets. That is going to be your pattern all the way around for this row. All right, so I will meet you back here in just a second. Okay guys, so I have made it almost back to my starting point. So I have half of the first corner done, the entirety of the second, third, and fourth corners are done. And that's all we did, was build up our corners on this row. So what we're going to do here, coming back to our first space, go ahead and put your 3 double crochet cluster in there. 1, 2, and 3. And then just like we ended the last row is the same way we're going to end every row, so that we can start in the center of the corner. I know a lot of people like to slip stitch, but I find that that only works if you are working with a solid colored yarn. When you get variegated yarn such as this and you try to single crochet over, it just gives it a look that I personally don't like. If you're okay with it, you can always chain 2, slip stitch into the top, and then slip stitch your way over until you reach this space. This is another option and a totally different way to do it, but still works. So for me, I yarn over, do my half double, then chain up of 3, just like with every other start of every row, 2 more double crochets right into that space. And now you can still see your spaces right here. They're just not as prominent if we had had a chain 1. And that's the other thing about the chain 1, is it does make it visually easier to see where your spaces are. But again, for me, I've been doing it so long that I just don't like the chain 1 anymore. So now instead of jumping over all the way to the next corner space, as you can see, it's building, and we're going to be adding a stitch in every time. So right here, stitch, we're adding in a cluster every time. So now we'll put 3 more double crochets right in this space in between this cluster and this cluster. All right. So now we originally had 1, now we've moved up to 2, now we're going to move up to 3, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you just literally add 1 cluster each row that you go up. And guys, that's it for the granny square. I know there's lots of variations, but this is a very basic, easy version of the granny square. It's really not hard, and you just keep going. No need for a stitch marker or cutting your yarn unless you're changing colors. And again, if you guys need a color change tutorial, I will absolutely get to that. Just leave me a comment, because when you guys comment, that tells me to move certain things higher up my priority list of filming. So absolutely let me know if there's something you guys want to see or you've been struggling to learn and need more clarification on. I am more than happy to do videos for you guys. But again, that is it. That is the granny square. And if you guys saw my Lemonade post, you know that I was stunned to see that they had a pack of 12 pre-crocheted granny squares, and they did not look very big, like 4 rows tops. That's what it looked like, was about 4 rows tops. And you see, we're already 3 rows in right here. And it's, guys, it's tiny. I am a very petite woman. I am literally 5 foot tall at like not even 100 pounds. So my hands are tiny. So you see how tiny this is. Those squares couldn't have been maybe any bigger than that. For $50 for a pack of 12. Even as someone who understands how expensive and time consuming this is, that was excessive even for me. But that was the whole purpose of my YouTube, was seeing some of this stuff and realizing that we can learn to do this together. And that's what I wanted to do, was teach everyone who wanted to learn these skills. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, let me know in the comments what you want to learn next. I try to do at least 1 video every week. I am unsure of what I'm doing next. I'm hoping for either maybe a flower or my fall leaves. I'm still debating on that, but if there's a preference for you guys, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.